In this quick video, I'm going to share with you 28 ways to guarantee failure in your 3D printing based business. This list of definitely don't do's is from my own personal experience and of course from my clients' experiences before they worked with me. Some of them I'll explain reasons for, some of them might be a bit obvious, and others you can just ask in the comments below and I'll give a more detailed explanation later. The first thing you should definitely do to guarantee failure in your 3D printing business is to print loads of stock, especially for a product that hasn't been validated yet and that you haven't sold much of already. Also, you should definitely always 3D print on demand. That way, even when you're working on something else in the business, if a sale comes in, you have to stop everything just to get that one product printed so you can get that order out to the customer. It's a really unproductive way to work and it'll make sure that your focus is always spent on fulfilling orders rather than actually running the business. What's also a great idea is to offer as many possible colors and size variations of a product that you can. That way, instead of just selling one or two products, you're selling 300 or 400 different combinations of an SKU. This is great because not only will it confuse your customer at the exact point where you actually just want them to do one thing, and that's to click the buy button, but it'll also increase complexity in your business, which means a lot more moving components and you'll be struggling moving around admin and trying to fulfill orders rather than adding in systems into the business to make it easier to run. In a similar light, definitely don't kill off poor performing products. Keep them cluttering up your product line and confusing customers when they're browsing your online store. They'll wonder, what does this do? Or why should I buy that? Especially if it's for products that were discontinued years ago. Here's a favorite one. You should use as many different types of 3D printer and different tech in your business as you possibly can. Why just stick to one type of 3D printer when you could have 8 different types of FDM or resin-based machines? Why not even throw in a scanner or two into the mix as well, just to add in a bit more complexity. Speaking of scanners, you should always invest in a scanner. They always provide a high return on investment and don't take any of your time to use to actually provide the service to the customer at all. What'll also help to absolutely maximize the amount of time that you spend in the business and minimize the amount of profit that you make so that your business fails as fast as possible is to sell the lowest profit margin products you can. Definitely stay away from anything that's about 10 times the sale price to what it costs you to make. Why not instead something that costs you about $2 or $3 to make, just sell it for $6 or $7. While we're on low profit products, definitely don't sell products that people even actually want to buy. If you focus on just selling products that people don't want to buy, you can waste a massive amount of time just trying to get people to buy a product that they didn't want in the first place, rather than having great products that people actually want to buy from you. And don't listen to customer feedback at all, and definitely don't iterate the product. See, one of the things with 3D printing is once you've designed it and you start creating that, there's absolutely no way that you'll be able to change that model and improve it over time. Nope, once it's done, it's out there, so any feedback a customer might have and they're wasting their breath. One of my favorite things to do is maybe take out a loan for about $20,000 and fill an entire room full of cheap 3D printers to build a print farm that I have no products and no customers to sell to. Definitely don't take any time to understand your customer. Just create a product and just try and ram it down people's throats. I'm sure they'll buy eventually. Number 11, definitely give a product loads of unnecessary features. The more features and things that you can cram into a design to wow a customer, the better. It definitely won't be an entire waste of your time, and the customers will always appreciate lots of novelty, useless things that your product can do that they don't even need it for. You should never ever ask a customer for reviews. Definitely spend weeks or even months and maybe tens of thousands of dollars on building your own website. It'll be great because when eventually you do finish it, it'll probably be out of date and no one will see it because there's no traffic going to that website in the first place. Likewise, you should probably spend months creating that perfect product, fine-tuning every little last thing. One of my favorite pieces of advice is just to pick a product that other people already sell and sell the exact same thing. This way, because loads of sellers are all competing on the exact same product, selling the same thing, the only way that you can compete and make any sales is to lower your prices, and then they'll lower their prices, and then you'll lower your prices, and then they'll lower their prices. Another fantastic tip is to never automate any processes in your business. Always keep everything as manual as possible so that you're always doing all the jobs in your business alone. Definitely try to sell to everyone, as many people as you can. And say in your product descriptions that this product is for anyone, really. Definitely don't call out the exact customer that would actually buy this product themselves. I'm sure they wouldn't be interested in it anyway. Before launching your product, make sure you keep it quiet. Don't tell anyone beforehand that you've got something exciting coming and that they might be interested in it. They probably wouldn't. Remember, as Homer Simpson once said, if something's too hard, it's probably not worth doing. So if you launch a product and it doesn't really sell, you should probably give up immediately. Definitely don't educate your potential customers on how to use your product or why they would use it for free using content marketing. It's also definitely a good idea to keep moving platforms that you're selling on. So if you start on eBay, just leave eBay and maybe start on Etsy. If you started on Etsy, leave Etsy and maybe start on Amazon. If you started on Amazon, stop selling altogether. Branding is entirely a pointless activity and only for the big boys like Coca-Cola. So definitely don't create a really nice, catchy, short name for each of your products. 24, it's really important to focus on lots of different things in your business that are out of sequence. So if you're struggling to make sales, you should probably start focusing on buying more printers for your print farm. Or if you're not making any money but you're making lots of sales, then you should probably focus on doubling the amount of sales so that you don't have any free time left. Remember, the best businesses are built alone without a team. So definitely don't hire on other freelancers to get involved in your project to help take some of the load off your plate, and so that some of those tasks can even be done better by other people. You should definitely always do everything yourself in a business. That's what the big CEO execs do in massive companies. They just do all the work themselves, and then the thousands of other employees just kind of sit around all day, probably not really doing anything. Definitely don't focus on building a memorable brand that is loved by your customers and that they have trust in you to be able to provide them with a great experience and a great product that does what you say it'll do. That'll be worthless. You also definitely shouldn't build an email list. If you have an email list, if for some reason you get kicked off another seller marketplace or there's some technical problems which means you can't make sales anymore, with an email list you'd still be able to make sales. So you don't want to have one of those because that might reduce your chances of failure. Finally, never ever look at the data on the dashboard of your Sell It marketplaces or your own website. There's loads of information here that'll give you insights as to how to improve the running of your business. So it's really important to ignore all that and never make decisions based off data. Only make them based off emotion. I had way too much fun making this list of what you should definitely not do if you want your business to be successful. Be honest, which of these mistakes have you made in your business? I know I've made many of these myself in the past, so comment below and ask any questions if you have those too. I'll only be too happy to help in the comments, and I won't be anywhere near as passive aggressive in my answers. Promise. And definitely don't laugh. All of these answers are extremely serious and you should take them as seriously as I do.